So, changing the world by changing yourself for inner peace. I want you to imagine a yin-yang symbol that represents the energy of the universe. Half of it is yin energy, which is the feminine energy, and the other half is the yang energy, which is the masculine energy. Now, each and every one of us has both of those energies literally within ourselves, which is physically reflected in our bilateral symmetry. The right side of your body is the masculine energy side. That is yang. The left side of your body is yin energy. That is the feminine energy. Now, Eastern medicine, Taoism, Chinese philosophy, healing, mysticism, basically, they can heal anything. So obviously, that means that they can kill anyone. So when we start thinking in terms of holisticism or the wholeness of things, right? Then there's two sides to the wholeness of things. So, for example, this is something I learned in Reiki from my Reiki master who passed away from a rare cancer. She was a practicing psychiatrist, psychologist before she left because she didn't just want to give people pills and take insurance money. She decided to take up Reiki after she had a near-death experience, and I was blessed to have such a thorough, amazing, knowledgeable, wise, ethical, and seriously gifted professional to help me at I'm not going to say the beginning, because the beginning really started when I was 21. I was about 25 or 26. So I'll say like the midpoint of my spiritual awakening. Heal a lot of stuff. And so I'm not going to get too much into that right now. But if you are seeking inner peace, and if each individual held inner peace within themselves, then the world would automatically change and be different. Can that happen overnight? Well, can you shift? So the Western world is very much in its yang energy, very much in the masculine energy, the go, 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 the fast lane, the must achieve. What are the numbers? What's everything mechanical? Let's keep everything on a tight, rigid schedule. Let's micromanage and, go to war and all that. So yang is like the masculine active energy. I'm going to associate that with war. The yin energy is the feminine energy. So that is the intuitive powers. That is the depth of emotion and emotional intelligence. And the yin energy is rest or relaxation. So inner peace. So, if each individual set the intention for inner peace and then decided to actually anchor themselves in that intention and take an action towards being, meaning going inward within your own mental and emotional self. And then by being still with yourself, whether it's sitting or laying down, then you can allow your body, your mind, and
you wouldn't settle for Bateman when there's Batman. Come on, Batemobile, don't die on me.
And your other and your other spirit and your spirit or soul to all begin to relax so that you can allow the thought forms, the images, the emotions, all of that to rise to the surface. When you enter a meditative state or a trance-like state, when your brain is in delta wave, gamma, alpha, depending on your meditation practice, your personal brain chemistry, body chemistry, etc., then you allow yourself to hold space for you, for yourself, for your own individual personal healing. So when you're able, or when you make the choice to pull yourself out of yang energy, which is always doing, and you drop into stillness of being, then you allow yourself not only inner peace, but also the opportunity to find your inner resonant core of equilibrium. So in the West, a lot of people will want to brush that off because that doesn't fit into the American psycho paradigm of hyper performance, hyper vigilance, leading all back to profit, right? So if you can take time out from being in that mode and allow yourself to enter your depth, then the ego melts away, and power isn't about control. Power is about you knowing yourself, being comfortable with your truth, and finding the clarity that you need in order to have peace of mind or understanding, or to even have that moment of realization that what you're really seeking in life is more grace. So how could I make this a more graceful experience of life for myself and others? Because we are all mirrors that are reflecting other people and parts of ourselves. A lot of people get lost in their personal hall of mirrors with projections, delusions, illusions, deceit, brainwashing, dogma, inculcation of whatever, the superego or authority was in your life, whether that be oppressive, freeing, or what have you, that allows you to consider what is true for you, what you actually believe and why, and it opens or expands the space for communication with your higher self, which typically results in clear communication with other people. Now, if you're in a very toxic environment, if it's very abusive, if people are always lying, if you have a lot going on where people are negatively sending you evil eye, negatively sending you, death spells, black magic, voodoo, blood sacrifices, Santeria, all of that stuff, well, then you can just send that back to them. And just send it back. Say, I return this energy to whoever is sending me their negative energy. Send that back to them and cleanse all in the void. Protect me with white and gold light. Amen. It's done. So, another thing, if you have worked with me or are interested in for healing or coaching, a lot of the things that you might be struggling with or that might be issues, it might be, evil magic, nefarious people, death intent at you. It might not mean that you're crazy. It might mean that bad people are doing bad magic on you. Which is something that I struggled with. I'm like, well, I'm doing all the right. I got a job. I got the, high-rise apartment. I got the boyfriend that everybody wants. I work out. I go spin class. I go to yoga. I go to the meditation things. I'm doing everything that I can that I think is like safe and good for me. Why do I feel so shitty? And so that's really where I consciously began the healing process. And over the last, really now it's like I'm 35. It's been really like 15 years. I was born spiritual. I was a weird baby. They were all scared of me, and I've always been spiritually gifted and had a very different, unique life. And I've always had God, and I grew up Catholic. But my personal spiritual journey started with that, with the Reiki and all the finding out the death magic and finding out everybody's, stuff. And, when you're born into cults and whatever, you think that's normal because you don't know anything else. So that's another thing with the brainwashing, is what has been normalized for you or to you or at you, essentially forced, most likely via obligation or the fear of being murdered. What do you want to let go of in terms of that? If you are now an adult with an adult mind, in an adult body that is capable of making adult decisions for yourself in terms of who you are, and not anything to do with equating what you have with meaning. So that is how I would define spirituality to me in the framework of holisticism, which is Chinese. And just my very simple, basic 2 cents in terms of free mentorship of how to cultivate inner peace for yourself and for the world. so that you have a more enjoyable life. The end. Thank you. Namaste.